What if I had started the business? What if I didn't go into business with that particular person? What if I had had the courage to say no? And what if I had had the courage to say yes? Welcome to Angel Founders Network. I am Joanna Garzilli, and thank you for joining me on this journey. I don't know exactly where it's going to go. I have this vision of bringing together like minded folk who have a passion for doing meaningful business deals, for aligning with other founders, just doing really cool projects. And even as I say meaningful business, it just feels so it just feels weird in this sort of this day and age where we've got AI and different buzzwords and how to put things out on media, social media. And I know myself, I've been numb to these certain things or judgmental of what others have said. So I wanted to just share a little bit about where I was in my business investing journey, where I am now, and where I'm looking to go. So, where was I? Well, back in my early 20s, I worked in banking. I worked for a corporate finance M&A boutique, and I learned a lot in that process. At that point, I was an executive assistant to several well, one of them was an expert witness attorney, and the other two had come from a top accounting firm. And so I would, when they were looking for deals, I would get sent off to Companies House, which is in the city of London. And that was before you could look for anything online. And I would have to go and find a specific microfiche and then bring that back for my bosses and be able to give them some type of overview of the research that I had found. And then they would shape something to decide whether they were going to do reach out to do a merger and acquisition or a buyout, something along those lines. I went to do my Securities and Futures Authority exam, but then back then, I just had this mindset of, I just want to get there quickly. And I got too scared to pursue that path. Back then, it was very male dominated. And even though on the outside I was very confident, inside I was too scared. Sort of like HBO has that TV show industry. It was like that before there was only a handful of women in the space. Fast forward to I had different opportunities come to me, and my intuition screamed not to go into them. But because I hadn't worked on core parts of myself, my judgment was skewed. And so I invalidated my intuition, even though at the time I was an expert in intuition and was coaching clients in how to trust their intuition and how to make successful decisions in business and life, right? Isn't that ironic? And so, because I didn't listen to my intuition, because I had a core of low self esteem and poor boundaries in place, I went through this in relationships, thankfully, came out the other side of that, but still didn't fully learn the lesson in business. And then I was successful in my own business, but I really didn't focus enough on the numbers. And and because of that, because I took advice from people around me who were mentors for me, that they looked at the gross income rather than the net profit. That was a very tough lesson to learn. And the other thing was, it was always like, oh, you got to scale, you got to go bigger. But that actually wasn't a right fit for me. I was doing really well at the time. And then when I started to follow that guidance, it led to one failure after the other. And and that's when I really began to isolate myself. So there was a part of me that was still out there and doing things and successful, but I made my life smaller and smaller. And then 2020 came, and I decided to launch Crypto Angel Network. I had started the channel, but not done anything on it back in the end of 2017. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just give it a go. And I think 2 weeks in, I'd had only a handful of views on videos here and there. And then I had one of my favorite shirts on. It was this older Ferrari t-shirt, and didn't have myself put together, and just went on and did this video, and then things started to take off from there. The community started to build, and it was awesome. And that culminated in a journalist from the Washington Post reaching out to me because of my experience in crypto addiction and a video I had done on that. It also, from doing that channel, I, through an old friend of mine who was COO of a trust company, said, we would love you to come and join us. And I thought, you know what, this will be a new adventure. And so at that point, I became business development officer of their crypto division and hosted their crypto tax summits, and eventually went on to become head of marketing and head of communications for them, helping them grow from 500 million in assets under administration to 1.5 billion. But then I went through more transformation where it is really challenging for me to work in corporate. And I am an entrepreneur at heart. I guess I really love change, but I love change on my terms, not when it's just coming at me. I've had to learn to embrace that. And I left that. I started to do another podcast where I sort of soul searching, called Looking Glass Podcast, which is still there, but I'm not doing anything on it. And and then I got into acting, and I did several roles in acting. Now I'm in Miami Beach. I mean, there's so much change. Like, I've moved multiple times. When someone asked me the other day, well, actually, I asked them, they have this community, and I said, I don't feel like I fit in anywhere. Um, I'm I'm an intuition coach. I'm a psychic. I'm an angel investor. I'm an actor. I'm a host. I'm a HarperCollins author. I've worked in corporate finance. And she said, "Oh, like, we're fine with weirdos." And I said, "Oh, so I'm a weirdo." And I talked to my husband afterwards about it, and I suppose I sort of asked for it. I wasn't clear or concise, and I chose to perceive myself in that way. So I guess this is, I'm just sharing this me here in this way so that you can see the journey. And sometimes I'm going to be polished and put together and very eloquent, and other times you're just going to get me like this. I feel it's important to do that, to be real. Recently, well, I've been also, through my husband, in the autonomous mobility space for a number of years. Well, a number of years back, we launched a startup, and that they got a lot of press, global press, and then we hit the wall because I didn't understand. We didn't understand how to plan properly, how to raise capital. We had no proper roadmap. We were just trying to figure things out as we went along. Fast forward to, I really like Y Combinator and what they do. And I've been studying all their angel investing. I've gone through a number of their different teachings, expert advice that they have, and it's been very helpful. It's given me confirmation, it's given me peace around certain decisions I made where I just mentally punish myself. And so recently we made, and actually I came across those via WeFunder because we invested into a startup called Swift Cities. It's a mobility company. And I really, 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 really believe in that founder. Not investment advice, just for clarity. That's another thing I learned. Always do your own due diligence. Because in the past, like I just, when I did invest in certain things, whether it was money or time, getting involved in a project, I just didn't research properly. And I sort of feel like there's this tarot card called the Fool, where the person is stepping off a cliff and they're just not looking where they're going. So, my goal with this is to really become an astute angel investor and to create a strong community and to be able to be a safe space for other founders to meet each other, to be able to go through the highs and lows of bringing their business, their idea to life. And I'm going to be interviewing different founders and different experts in their field, from angel investing to on the business operations side of things, marketing, personal development, biohacks, and just, yeah, just see where things go from there. I just don't want you to make the mistakes I've made. Let me say something positive and happy though. I am in the best place I've been in my life. In the past, I had made some of the mistakes I'd made had plummeted me into debt. And thankfully, I have zero debt now. And they always say in investing, don't invest in anything you can't afford to lose. And little by little, I have learned how to become an investor. And again, I'm still on that like really, really small scale. I mean, like I'm a, I'm a little angel. I'm a small angel. One day, if it's God's will, Spirit's will, I'd love to be like an archangel. That would be cool. And, or just to be with a fleet, with a host of amazing angels, just to be in a gathering with them, all part of something that is really meaningful. I mean, that's what lights me up. I hope that some of this resonates with you. Please do subscribe to Angel Founders Network. I would love to hear about your journey, where you're at. And if you think you've got an interesting story to share, please do message me. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, Joanna Garzilli, and yeah, let me know, and it would be cool to have that conversation, to have you here on the channel. I used to host a talk show called Life Stories. So yeah, I guess more will be revealed, and I hope when I look back at this video, I'm not cringing. It's definitely challenging me for me to be totally just raw like this. We'll see the progress that happens, and yeah, till next time.